What's going on, boyos? I just have some things I want to get off my chest in a video. I oftentimes wonder how many men are truly in a state of like absolute infidom, like of a point to where like they can't get a girlfriend. And obviously, we've had a few discussions in my chat and in general about the invasion of normies into the incel space, or I want to call it the black pill spaces, I guess. And what we end up finding is that there's a lot of normies that are showing up and they're like, oh yeah, yeah, I've had girlfriends in the past. In fact, I'm one of them. I'm not really a true cell, what people would say. I'm just black pilled. So like at the end of the day, is my involvement and is the involvement of these people in the community what's probably been destroying the community? Is it possible that overall these type of users, me included in this, are actually a detriment to the community? To some extent, I would say yeah. Like you're by nature of more people showing up, you're diluting the information gets more and more lowbrow, gets way more I just feel like it gets more diluted to some extent because like you don't actually have the experience of being a true cell. And truth be told, thank God I'm not a true cell. Truth be told, like I'm actually in a better position than I ever have been in my whole life, really, right now. So at the end of the day, I do wonder though how many men are actually in a state of absolute infidom. I imagine the percentage is probably getting bigger and bigger every year, but from the get go, it has to be small just by the nature of a bell curve because like the amount of men who are absolutely hideous is smaller and smaller. What's changing is the standard about what's attractive for men. Obviously, if you look at a bell curve, you have a nice one side kind of small, and then it goes in the middle where most people are average in the middle. Then you have the people, very, 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 very few people are extraordinary. Either side of the curve, there's less of each. Either side of the moment you leave the average, there's less and less people on each side. So I'd imagine the amount of men who are absolutely hideous, like the amount of like subhuman, what if you want to call them, sub four, sub three, tier men, it's got to be extremely small, and that most of the men are actually really sitting in the middle. And this is probably why you're seeing this invasion of normies, people like people kind of like me into the community. You have people who like been on a dry spell for a long time, or people who are starting to experience what it's like to actually like not have anything. And you're probably seeing, and this is what's probably happened to the community. To some extent. I mean, even Face complained about this for a while in history. He said, like, why can't I find any real true cells to show up? And then I think the amount of true cells that truly exist, it has to be small. It can't be as large as we think it is. I think that the normie, depending on how they became black pilled or blue or red pilled or even blue pilled, they can bring a perspective that maybe we're missing to some extent. Like obviously they know about women to some extent, better than a true cell would. So they can bring in information that we wouldn't be able to have access to had we just close the community off and told people to stay out. But to some extent, when you bring new people in, once again you're diluting the content. The content isn't nearly as potent or as I don't want to say extreme, but it's not nearly as I guess prolific as it used to be. It's not as hard hitting as it used to be, for sure. Um, you see people during the during the not face stream, but the Insomatic stream. There's a lot of people leaving the community. The community's kind of dying in a way, and probably a multitude of factors. I think for one thing, even the manosphere content is starting to dry up now. Like there's not really a lot to talk about, and as Pygmy said in his video, once you said everything you had to say, what else is there to really say? Like you can only say so much. You can only harp on about I'm ugly and I can't find a girlfriend, or I am ugly and I can't find success in life for so long before like people are like, okay, we get it. You're ugly, you can't find a girlfriend. Um, I think this is possibly why stuff like streaming content does so well. Is because like the content is sort of dynamic. The topics, especially in my stream, we focus on women to some extent, but it does kind of flow a little bit outside of the box and go somewhere else. And we talk about society a little bit. We talk about this, talk about that. So the content kind of flows organically versus like right now having a static video. Even right now, this is a little bit more rambly than a regular like a PowerPoint video. I would make almost like like a PowerPoint video is a little more static, a little more on point. This is a little bit more of a stream of consciousness in a way. Um, and I feel like this content does probably does better right now because, you know, it's almost like once you said everything, you can kind of just go on. What else is there really to say? Like, okay, you say your spiel, you get off the mic and you go home, or you go to sleep, or you hang out with your friends, or you find something to do. Um, but yeah, like just to go back on the topic though, like the amount of incel men who truly exist, and people who are stuck in the absolute state of inceldom, or like the like absolute looks tier, subhuman tier men, are like, I think it's smaller than we think it is. And what we're seeing right now is that, or what we've been seeing rather, is that, as the standards of women have gone up, more and more men are basically being like forced down into like inceldom, or becoming more and more TFL, FA, or whatever you want to call it. And this is why we're seeing such a huge increase of the amount of men who are like, "Oh, you're not really a true cell. You've had sex before." And it's like, okay, well, that's true. I'm not really a true cell. For anybody's by any standard of the word. But I've been on a dry spell for a few years, and it's like, oh, well, okay, so you kind of belong here, and you can bring perspective that I don't have. I think that's why it's important to kind of let these people in. But I would say let in the ones who are reasonable. Don't let in the ones who are like extremely like blue pilled, obviously, or even like the red pillers, really the PUA guys. Don't ever let those guys in here or into the community, especially without a fight. Um, and then just to talk about the those type of normie men, again, like I do wonder, of the men who aren't subhuman tier. I think Wheat Waffles did a video about he broke it down to basically saying that like you're either your subhuman tier, which is like 4 through 1. There's like normie tier, which is like 5 through 7 or 5 through 6, and then there's Chad Light, and then there's Chad, and then like basically those are like 3 or 4 stratas you kind of throw yourself into. And he basically says that like the people who are stuck sort of in the middle, he says that these men probably have other problems, or rather that game could work for these men if they actually applied it. And that these men here need to have some sort of like either talking skills, to have a mouthpiece, as it's called in the black community, have a mouthpiece, be able to talk very, very well, or be able to basically charm a woman with by talking to her, be on point with game, whatever you want to call it. I'm not trying to sit here and peddle a red pill ideology to you guys, but like I'm just repeating what Wheat Waffle said in his video about game possibly working for people who are like 7 or 6 out of 10. Um, I think he's somewhat right there. I think that some of these men who are stuck in the middle, some of these men who are like, normie tier, 5, 6, 7, not 8, or 5, 6, and 7s, even some maybe not 4s, but maybe 5, 6, and 7. Some of these men probably have other issues. Um, you're probably not as ugly as you think you are, and your problem might be that you lack social skills, which is very, very possible. You might be autistic, which is not really your fault. And a lot of these problems aren't really your fault. Lacking social skills, maybe you never had the opportunity to actually develop social skills, or maybe you just grew up in a sheltered household or something like that. So it's really easy to like fall back in a lot of social development when you don't have the opportunity to actually do it. But maybe you lack social skills, maybe you're lacking somewhere else that's not looks related. Obviously, you're not top tier looks, but you're not like hideous. You're not like absolutely ugly tier. You're not like a subhuman tier. You're relatively normal looking, and I think for these men, they might need to like I hate to use the word self improvement and do the work, but like not so much do the work, but like I always talk about making an honest assessment of oneself and where you really are in life and what you can really do. And if you look in the mirror one day and you say, "Hey, I'm not really that ugly," and I've gotten a few looks from women every once in a while. It's not every day, but I do get looks from women every once in a while, or I do get this, or I do have I've had opportunities in the past and I let them slip by because I didn't know what to do, or didn't know what to say, or how to interact. Like, if you've ever had any opportunity like that, you on the next time you have that opportunity, you really need to like take it and actually like go with it. Don't just like let it slip by and let it roll by and let it. Because even I've talked about my fuck ups in the past, about how like, oh yeah, I could have had a girlfriend easy back in high school, and it's like I just totally fucked up, or like something like that, or I could have easily had a girlfriend back in college or something like that. I just totally like didn't know what to do. I was like totally aloof about it, and it's like, oh, it's easy to like you look back and it's like you're laying in bed one night and you look back and you're like, oh my god, I could have ascended had I just had I just done that. What was I thinking? Like, she was obviously into me. Why didn't I take it? And then you wonder why you've been on a dry spell for years. Like, some of these people just don't know how to interact with women. And I brought it up during the And so Mad Extreme, again, it was kind of like a blurb a little bit, but I basically said like I have a friend right now who's he has the opportunity for like arranged marriages because that's what his culture actually promotes, and he has all these like qualifiers about what he wants in a woman, and it's like okay, well he's in his late mid 30s, he's getting up there in age, and it's like, dude, you have an opportunity that most men don't have. You have an opportunity to actually have women curated for you, show up to you, and all you have to do is talk to them and make it happen. And it's like he just lacks the social skills. I wonder how many men are in that situation where they just lack social skills. They don't know how to talk to women. They don't even know how to like talk to a fellow man properly. Like you don't know anything about sports. They don't know anything about anything. Like they're just totally like socially inept. And how many men suffer from mental illness? Like once again, not all of this is your fault, and really a lot of it's not your fault. If you never developed socially, it might be because your parents, were so big on you getting an education. Maybe you just never had a chance to develop social skills. It's a very, very high possibility that might be part of the problem. I don't have any data to back it up. I'm just talking once again. It's a stream of consciousness, so it's just kind of going. But I do wonder how many of those men in the middle are just like fucked for other circumstances other than just, oh, by the way, I'm ugly as sin. Like no, but you're not. Like you're something else. And there are things that you can do. I talk about. I self improve. I go to the gym every week. I my money max. I do things that I know I can do on my own. That I'm coping. We're cope on ice right here. 100 years of coping. Fuck it. But like you do what you got to do. Like you don't. Some men like the 4 through 1 men type men their only solution might actually be to lay down and rot. But for the men in the middle, you might actually have a chance, and it might actually be worth taking that chance, assuming you actually get what you want. Okay, and then another topic I kind of wanted to talk about during the last stream. I think it was who was it who brought this up? I'm not trying to call people out here either. I'm not trying to like start any drama, but somebody brought up how like, oh yeah, I want to. It might have been straight. I can't remember who said it, but somebody talked about how they wanted to have like, oh, I want a virgin waifu girlfriend, and it's like, I'm looking at you like I'm looking at this person. I'm looking at people that say that, and I wonder like, what world do you live in? Like, you're looking for something that doesn't exist. You're looking for a unicorn, and then like then I have to ask the question of like, who are you to deserve a virgin waifu? You might think, well, I'm a man and I deserve that, and like no, like that's like something that most people don't get. It's so rare nowadays to find a woman who's even halfway decent and halfway not degenerate, that like to think that you deserve some like 1950s virgin waifu who's like gonna love you for the rest of your life and is like extremely, it's not even like cope. It's like it's like beyond like delusional. Like to think that way, to think that, oh, I deserve a 1950s waifu who's a virgin. You're not gonna find it. Like you got the women you got. You have the women who exist right now, and a lot of them, like if they've been to college, they've been ran through. Even in high school, they've been ran through. Hell, if you go to middle school, they might have been ran through too. I don't know. I'm not gonna go that damn young, but high school for sure they've been ran through. College for sure they've been ran through. And the ones who are of marriageable age wanted to get married, they get married very, very early on. So you're kind of like, if you're like my age or like even in your mid 20s, you're dealing with ran through women. You're dealing with women who are used. You're buying a used car at that point. So like you need to really have once again, it's all about making an honest assessment of like where society is and where I am or where you are, and being honest about what's achievable, like what's actually achievable in society today. Is getting a virgin waifu really achievable? I don't think so. If you ask me, I think you're coping so fucking hard. You need to fucking go back to Copeland or some shit. I don't know. You need to go to Copenhagen or some shit. I don't know, because like you're delusional at that point. Because like you're looking for something that doesn't exist. You're looking for a unicorn, and good luck finding that. And even going to Southeast Asia, you're probably not going to find it there either. It's just good luck. So like once again, I'm not trying to call anybody out here. This is something that got brought up, and I was like, wait, what? Like you're not going to find that. So like, and even beyond that, like, what makes you think that you're worthy of that type of like girl to begin with? Like, what it kind of comes down to is that it's all about making an honest assessment of oneself, and not being like deluded about what's actually achievable in today's society. You should constantly be striving to try to do the best that you can, depending on your circumstances. And for some men, once again, lay down and rot might be the only solution they have, or might be the only thing they have. But for other men who are in the middle or whose situations aren't that bad off, if they take a really sit down and do some introspection and take an honest assessment of where they are and how bad things are in society or how good things are in their past, they might actually be able to be like, okay, I can work with this. I'm going to turn some lemons into a lemonade. You know, I'm going to try to make a cake out of 2 eggs and a stick of butter and do something with that. You know, it was another topic I wanted to bring up too, but I might save it for another video. It's this one's already 15 minutes long of rambling, but yeah, I think I'll stop it here. All right, guys, this is Mystery School. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment if you like the video or hate the video, and leave a comment if you have any real big comments to make actually about the especially about the incel problem, basically about how many men are actually in a state of true celdom for sure. That's like probably going to be the biggest controversy here. Like, how many men are actually true cells in this community versus like just normie incels or people who are like black pilled who really aren't truly true cells. Probably going to be the biggest controversy here. But either way, guys, once again, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and never forget, guys, that wisdom is gold. See you next time.